the elephant in the room, the elephant in the room, Vivian Mangalinda. Okay, Miss V. So,
everybody put your microphones on. Everybody. We are in a live talk show called the Ekit Edit Live Talk Show. So we don't have dead people, all microphones on. There you go. And that is the elephant in the room. Do people follow instructions? That is the elephant in the room. We are taught to be public speakers with many titles and norms along the way, DTMs, all the way to Kingdom Come, as in convention. But in real life, what we need is to have some simple, obvious rules to see the elephant in the room. It's called, what was the agreement? And as a director of live talk shows, live events, and that's on TV, teleradio, radio, and international events, right? The slogan in my show called Show and Tell is, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Learn face-to-face communication skills and conversational fluency. And that is the elephant in the room. There is no edit. There is no take two in real life. Tonight, we're not going to talk about Toastmaster scenarios because there's a deep down secret. The life beyond Toastmasters. It's called life outside Toastmasters. Okay, so I have a panel here, and we can see there's me. If it's the same on the screen, there's Ryan Patila, George Jarosek, and Cindy Latch. Nisar, can you please put your hand down for now so that I have only the panelists, please? Nisar Beer, can you please put your hand down? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, there. Can you all write this down? This is going to be our topic tonight. What has happened in your life where you had all the agreements and everybody said yes? And well, you know what happens, right? Yes. Even a simple birthday party blows up in your face. Has this ever happened to anyone? Raise your hand, please. Simple meetings, birthday parties, exactly. And I am encouraging people in education, those who have children and grandchildren, please start it early in life. Have agreements, have contracts. Believe it or not, I have one kid and we used to have a contract that she would sign in crayon and she would write with drawings. It's called take a bath at 6 p.m. and it has a shower, and then eat at 6:30 and then it has food. She will check it. I would like to encourage you to do that beyond Toastmasters because you're out of Toastmasters more than you are in. Are you with me so far? Can you raise your hand if this is useful so far? Yes? Okay, great. Now, because we're talking about watch and learn, and my show is Show and Tell, and I talk about in our club with Ryan Botila, we talk about laugh and learn. No serious stuff here because you all know it. Yes, for me, the serious cases are in the ICU. So don't you dare be serious tonight. And since I will not wait for people to volunteer, I will volunteer them. Yes, George Jarosik, can you give me just one? Because Cindy's going to leave us after a while. She has keynote speech. One scenario in your life outside Toastmasters where everything was right, or so you thought, because they all agreed, and then it blew up in your face. Go.
Absolutely. As you know, I've been married 4 times. Yes, 4 times. My third wife had 2 daughters, and we just got married. And I thought, okay, let's have a family council. So we all sat around the table, and I brought up the contract. And I says to the 2 teenage daughters, I says, these are the rules that we are going to do. You know where this is heading to. If you go out late at night, you're going to be back at 10 at night. You're going to do the dishes. You're going to, each of you are going to cook a meal every day. And by the end of the meeting, it was a short 30-minute meeting. Everybody was in tears. They were crying. They all left the room. My wife looked at me and says, "How dare you?" And after that, it never happened again. I never, in fact, they did the opposite of what was in my contract. So I just tore up the contract and gave up. Lessons
All
learned.
right. So I love real stories. This is why I chose these three wonderful people, because there are three people who talk about real scenarios, whereas generally human beings think that when they're on camera and in Toastmasters, they should be the geniuses in the planet. I want to strangle their necks. We're going to do watch and learn. Right. And because we have the wonderful lady, our regional advisor here, please advise us about the worst things that people do.
Were you
Cindy Lang.
calling me or Ryan?
Cindy.
Okay, I was confused. See, I'm confused. I will kind of piggyback on what you just said, George, in that I believe some agreements are unspoken. Some agreements we just think everyone thinks like we do. And I will give you one that for many years made me nuts. I thought every single person in the world would close a cabinet when they took out a coffee cup. I thought every single human would put the dishes in the dishwasher rather than set them above the dishwasher. I thought if you have like a laundry chute where you put laundry down, that you put things down it, you don't put things toward it. And what I found out, I am now, this will be on August 7th, it will be 30 years that I have been married to the same guy. And what I learned over time is we did not have the same agreements. He will walk into the kitchen now, and you know what revealed it to me? COVID. It's not COVID related, it's COVID revealed. We work together now, him downstairs, me upstairs. And Vivian, I will walk into the kitchen at say 10 o'clock to grab another cup of coffee. 16 cabinets are open. The drawer is open. There's a plastic bag hanging out and the door is open into the garage. And I'll say, hey, Brad, quick question. We ransacked, what happened here? And he doesn't even notice it. And so that's when I came to realize, Vivian, that the agreements I think we have with each other are sometimes in our own head.
There you go. Thank you very much, Cindy. If you were here early on, about over a year and a half ago, for those of you who are new here, the old timers know this. This is Vivian's solution to that scenario, and that's why I'm not married anymore. It's called one word, wapak. There. That takes
How do you
care of the
spell
cabinet.
that?
I mean, see, I take care of the cabinet doors. I didn't take care of the marriage, but there you go. I'm not smart in other.
I gotcha.
Yeah, you should learn this, but don't do it if you want to stay married. Just repeat it again for the second time once more, this time with feeling over and over again. Take a deep breath. Wapak! And so, this poor young guy, he's learning all the wrong things from me. Ryan, your mother will never forgive me. She'll never forgive you for taking me into your club. So now we have Brian Boitila. Tell us your favorite yucky story about this.
Well, when I think of yucky stories when working with groups of people, my mind immediately goes to the early days of college, where we're all just trying to figure out how to work together as a group. Where a contract like the one that George had drawn up with his family might have been useful and would not have resulted in some of the circumstances that Cindy described, where people think we're on the same page, but in reality, not so much. I'm reminded particularly of a calculus working group that we had. We were randomly assigned partners in the class, and it was a required class too, so everyone was, of course, highly motivated to get their work done. Where we all kind of got together, said, okay, let's do this project. We'll meet here at this time and get to work. The first time around, the first of 5 projects that semester, it was okay. We all met together at the time, minus one person, but that's not such a big deal. We all worked together, or so we thought. went our separate ways without very much checking our work closely. And I found out that, of course, nobody did anything, and I kind of raced everything through and sent it off, but I was okay. It was just the first time. We're getting ourselves together. Not a big deal. We'll figure it out next time. Next time rolls around, myself and one other person show up at the library. Where's all the group? But we get to work. We do what we can. And this one was a little bit better. We kind of did equal parts a little bit. Sent it in, not a huge deal. Third time rolls around, I'm on my own at this point. Everybody's jumped ship. So I do the project. And how it worked out, I happened to do well in the class, and I didn't have to actually do the last project in order to pass the class. So I just kind of didn't do it, and no one else did it anyway. So our fifth project didn't get done, but at least my grade was okay. I let it up for them and they did them. But that's when I learned that, yeah, explicit communication with your group is very important because we can't read our minds.
Thank you very much. Oh my goodness. Don't I just love this? Watch and learn. Because, you know, gossip is talking behind people's backs. So we're going to do gossip in front of everybody because it's so common anyway. We don't really learn from boring textbooks, boring PowerPoint, boring teachers. I have only one word for them. Yeah. We learn from people's bloopers because we're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be like that. And that's the trick. With the elephant in the room, you notice everybody has all these scenarios. Don't tell people anymore what to do. Just tell them yucky stories, and then you just laugh and you look at them. Yeah, that's the laugh and learn. And they're like, oh, that was me. Like, yeah, take a hint. All right. Oh, by the way, I'd like to greet my friend, Lance McMahon. Thank you very much. He said he doesn't like being up early in the morning. So thank you for being here. Now, let me ask all of you, what did we have in common? We thought we told them. We thought we heard them say yes. So we thought everything was fine.
Was okay.
Notice, yes, notice I didn't tell you those 3 things that I hate. It's called, let me tell you 3 things. Notice the ugly face. I hate that line. What I do is watch and learn. I just told you the 3 things. I brought you the 3 characters. And I just told you the 3 things we don't like. People learn from funny stories. Now, enough that I've heard from the 3 of them and you've heard of them. Timer, I'm not seeing you. I have no idea how many minutes we are running already. And Cindy will stand up and leave. She has a flight to take to her next speech somewhere in Zoom. Yes, there you go. Timer, speak up. How many minutes do we have left?
We
Timer,
are at 13. We're currently at 13 minutes.
Okay, thank you. We're doing very, very good time. All right. Anybody with a neatly composed question, not a sermon, not a lecture. A question is like a sentence with a question mark. Notice how clearly I said that. It doesn't happen. When they ask a question, they give a deposition. Yes, I hate them too. It's okay. They also hate me for hating them. I'm entitled to my opinion. Why? Because it's my speech. So there. Now, anyone in the audience with a clear question asking our panelists after they have given a scenario in their life. Give a problem that you have and let's choose one of the panelists to give a solution. I already do this every day, right, as a consultant. So I have 3 victims. Oh, sorry. 3 guests. Sorry, not victims. Okay. Yes. Who wants to ask a question? Come on, go. We're being timed. Anyone with a question? 1, 2. No questions. Take advantage. We have 3 people here. Mirka, that's what you get for smiling. Give me the worst scenario where there was a worst blooper, and then you even got blamed for it. Go. Mirka Johnson, do you have one? Yes, no? And no will do? Yes will. Sounds? Yes, no? I can't hear you.
I don't really have anything. I'm sorry, Vit.
All right. So do we have anyone, John Pasamonte? I'll pick on you because no one picks on the president, but since you're ex-president, I can pick on you. Yes, there's child abuse and there is presidential abuse. Go. You're it, John Pasamonte.
Well, my question for the panel is about events, for example, or even meetings. You know, you prepare everything, you plan for everything, and then all of a sudden nobody shows up.
Yeah.
What will you do? How would you react? Your thoughts.
Who wants to quickly answer based on, did any of the three of you have a scenario like that? George, wonderful, go.
I'm going to say this with a deadpan face that I conducted a meeting. I have the table all lined up with agendas, everything, and nobody showed up at the door. I realized I did not send the email out. I did not invite anybody. So I rescheduled the meeting, John. That's how I handled the situation.
George Jarosik, with all due respect, I love you dearly, but I can give the correct answer. You're brighter than me, but I'm wackier than you. Come on, people, you already know the right answer. George Jarosik, smile and then go, wapak! Don't do that again. All right.
I have a question, Miss B.
Who's that? Who's that? Speak up. Your name is?
Nani
Who are
here.
you?
Nani.
Danny,
Yes.
there you are. Okay.
So I was listening to Ryan. So if I'm trying to make people follow what I'm doing, I'm in a foreign country and I lead people who are not in the same culture as myself. And when I'm trying to ask them or make them do something that's probably very cultural to me, but not to them, very natural to me. How do you make people follow in another culture? Because that's my question to the panelists. If you have any advice on that.
Sure. Culture is a vehicle through which we can help quicken social interaction. If we all come into a situation with the same background assumptions, then we can interact a lot more smoothly. That's a lot more difficult when you're interacting with people from different cultures because they have different assumptions about how things should be done. Because everyone's coming in with those different assumptions, that means you can't assume anything. It really helps in those situations to remove as much ambiguity as possible. And I found that when people don't follow you, it's often because they don't know what you're trying to do. So I found that extremely clear and unambiguous communication, even the simplest things, can make a world of difference because then you know for sure that everyone's on the same page.
Thank you very much. So now you're one. Okay, yes, Cindy. Yes, love it. Yes.
Real life example, in my workplace, we have offshore teams that we work with, very culturally different. English is not a first language. And when I moved from the Harley-Davidson University Training School into the IT department, first of all, I thought, who are these people? They're all very strange, right? IT people. But I listened to the communications as a complete newbie. And what I realized was we, the Americans, were sharing stories like this. You don't want to act like a bull in a china shop. Now, we all knew what that meant. That's shorthand for like, don't be crazy, don't go. And I looked at all of my colleagues that were from Asia and they were all like, and I said, you guys, just a quick question. Do you know what that means? A bull in a china shop? And they were like, and I said, great, because let me tell you. And so bull in a china shop, snap the line. We use so many idioms, as I'm sure they do. We've had to just open ourselves up to say, does that make sense? And this is a completely trusting and free environment. Feel free to go, what are you talking about? Yeah.
There you go. See, this is getting better and better. Grammar, yes. Timer, did you raise your hand? I can't hear you.
Oh, I was just going to come with another question when you are
Go.
ready for one.
Quickly go. Go, Jimmy.
So I'm reminded about our division contest, and our own Marcy Johnson was the Toastmaster of our division contest, and it came off flawlessly. She did a wonderful job, as you would expect. Denise invited this club to be a guest presenter at their district conference. And due to no fault of Denise's, technology got in the way and things just went to you know where. But life went on and people smiled and we just adapted to make the best out of that situation as if it was rehearsed that way. How do you plan for that? And do you plan in advance for the worst case scenarios in an event? So George talked about his event that nobody came to. Is it in the mindset? How do you organize in such a fashion that that is the case?
George, do you have an answer? Go, George.
I've been chair for 19 spring conferences, so I know how to set up a risk just in case. I always have a backup speaker. Right, our keynote speaker last year didn't show up until 5 minutes before he was supposed to be there. What if? So I had Donnie Crandall lined up just in case that he would give a speech as a backup speech. Instructors always have a backup instructor just in case. All the way through John Passamani with my incredible Zoom master, but just in case he lined up a team of backup Zoom masters. That's what I did.
I've got a thought, Miss V.
Okay. Yes, Cindy, I love you.
My
Can I
home
take you home, Cindy? Can I take you home?
I would appreciate that. I would. I'm home alone right now. I was my district council. So you don't know, but Wisconsin is shaped like a mitten. Okay. That's where I live. It's shaped like a mitten. So the district is the whole state and then the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We had our first big virtual event about 3 months ago. We thought we practiced. We practiced on paper. The tech people that were up there said, yeah, we kind of think that that's where that plug goes. And I was the at-home person that was helping people try to log in virtually. And it didn't go well because I don't want to use bad words. It didn't go well. And people couldn't log in and speakers weren't. And all we saw up at the northern Wisconsin was this. Everybody was just looking at the screen like, what? And I finally went, Cindy, you got to shift gears. And so I shifted out of supporting that to really going back in and emailing and texting these people going, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. Reach out. We're going to be fine. I can open up a Zoom window. So what I've learned, and I didn't used to do this, was you got to learn when to pivot. And although that was the plan didn't work. And so we pivoted and we ended up having our own Zoom call. You guys were a part of it, right? Because everything went kind of haywire and you pivoted, and it just shows that sometimes you just got to get out of your own way.
Got it. Thank you, Cindy. If I'm not in my senior moment, I remember that what I did to save at least everybody's happy faces is why are we on, okay, go back to gallery, is that I do remember I made you all laugh and learn and act as if nothing went wrong. That is the best thing you can do when things go wrong. I'm going to answer you and recap everything that happened today. It's to use one thing called a checklist. And everyone goes, yeah, I know what a checklist is. No. You're going to have the Miss V checklist. It has only one item. One. Number one. And you all sign it in blood. You sign it in blood. Otherwise, I'm going to extract blood like this. What's wrong with you? How can you finish 2 to Kingdom Come if you can't even do 1? Does that make sense? Well, yes, I'm going to have to repeat it again for the second time once more, this time with feeling over and over again. Checklist with only one item. And it will be explained and understood to Kingdom Come in all possible ways. Whether you are visual, you look at the drawing of the agreement. Whether you're auditory, you hear it in 200 ways. Or you're kinesthetic, you see a demo. There's many kinds of people. That's why we presume if we write it, it's done. Well, not many people have their intelligence in writing. Remember? Say it with flowers, say it in song. There's so many ways. That's another speech for another day. But if you have to forget everything today, you will have only one thing to remember. One checklist with one number one that you all agree on. And it's not going to say what you're going to do. It's gonna write all the possible things that would go wrong. And as a live talk show broadcaster, and you mean that's in a soundproof booth with no windows? Yes, I'll give you an example to inspire you. The aircon died. 60 minutes, that's called the coffin. Yes, so what did I do? There you go. You have this Filipino fan, and I was fanning myself glamorously for 1 whole hour. There you go. Nothing can upset me. I would rather upset you. And that's my how to handle the elephant in the room. And to close this, I am not the elephant in the room. Excuse me. So sending you love and hugs from Manila. That's how to handle the elephant in the room. They should only have one number one. Your checklist of one. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love you.
Ooh, fantastic.
Excellent.
Everyone, let's
Great.
give them again a round of applause. Thank you for Miss V. That was a